class representative, I don't find him, I mean, he has not been attending my classes, I guess. Because I had told this to him that please remind me that I need to switch on the recording. Anyways, Muskan from next class, please remind me about this.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So United Nations was created for the restoration of international peace and security after the Second World War, and this was created by the allies who were fighting against the Axis powers in the Second World War to destroy dictatorship and secure a new world, or we can say secured democracy for the new world. That means it clearly shows that two ideologies were working at that point of time. One ideology was of dictatorship. Whose dictatorship? Tell me. Huh? Nazism, fascism. We can say if we look at wider perspective, we can say German's dictatorship, Hitler's dictatorship, we can find. And on the other hand, we had democratic nations like America, Britain. These were trying to establish democratic form of government. So this whole scenario was allies power were fighting, allies power promoting democracy were fighting with Axis power, or we can say fighting against the dictatorship. Mainly Germany was there. Okay. So they resolved to establish a new world organization, or we can say a new international organization. Now I would like to say that international organization could be of two types. This is for the general understanding. So since this word came up, so I am telling you. International organization could be of two types: international governmental organization and international non-governmental organization. International governmental organization, I'm sorry. Hello? Class 5 बजे करते हैं. International government organization where the government itself is a part of international organization, and international non-governmental organization, we can say the way NGO works in the domestic jurisdiction. So we can say कि non-governmental organization of international nature working at the international level. Okay. So it became an international organization where government was involved. But as I said, the origin can be traced back to 1941 in the London Declaration of 12th June 1941, where all those nations who were fighting against Hitler's Germany, they announced their intention of working together with other free peoples. Actually, this was the whole statement, that their intention of working together with other free peoples to establish a world where social and economic security can be maintained. From this particular statement, it is quite clear that they wanted a world order where they wanted international peace and security, and they were tired of these types of happening which was happening from the First World War period, and even before जो छोटे-छोटे fights हो रहे थे, they were tired of that, and they wanted at least international peace and security. If you see President Roosevelt, American President Roosevelt, in a message to the Congress during this period of time, had spelled out 4 freedoms, and later on it went to the Congress for ratification. These 4 freedoms were considered as of universal importance, and it should be maintained. What were those four freedom? That is, first thing, freedom of speech and expression. Second thing, freedom to worship God in one's own way. Third, freedom from want and freedom from fear. These four things, if you see, it has been incorporated in the constitution of the world also. I mean, in the different nations, these things are incorporated. Even in the Indian constitution, few things are mentioned explicitly and few things are mentioned implicitly. Now, if you look into it, these four freedom leads to freedom from war. Not only want, fear, expression, worship to God, ultimately they want freedom from war. These four freedoms which Roosevelt had talked about, and also the London Declaration were expressions of the world, human beings of the world, to be free from war and free from want. Okay. Then comes in 1941 only, Roosevelt and Churchill, they came up with Atlantic Charter, which talked about establishment of a peace which will afford to all nations the means of dwelling in safety within their own boundaries of fear and want, and the creation of a wider and permanent system of general security. Again, through Atlantic Charter, now the big nations, the big powers, they were trying to bring about peace, and they wanted to bring about peace and security in the international world order. Atlantic Charter and London Declaration, these two became very important, and they are going to become the milestone for another things. But these declarations were endorsed by 26 countries who were at that point of time members of allies in 1942, and this is what came to be known as UN Declaration. Okay. Then the formal decision to establish a new international organization was taken on 30th October 1943 in Moscow Declaration, where four big nations decided that they want to establish an international organization for the maintenance of peace and security. These four nations talked about general security, and these nations were Britain, China, America, and the Soviet Union. These nations, they announced that they recognize the necessity of establishing at least establishing at the earliest practicable date of general international organization of all peace-loving states, which would become this peace-loving state which they are right now claiming, or they are stating would become one of the objectives and criteria for becoming the member of the United Nations. So the whole statement stating that general international organization of all peace-loving states and open to membership to all such states, large or small, for the maintenance of international peace and security. That means there was this urge that international peace needs to be restored no matter what needs to be done. And they found out that the easy solution is to create an international organization. Later on you would find, not like League of Nations, where it was dominated by Britain and France, but a nation which could work actually for the international peace and security. Now here comes the question, why did they call it United Nations and not League of Nations Part 2 or League of Nations 2.0? बताओ.
एक्चुअली वो allies भी थे. allies से simple meaning उसका जाता है united, मतलब united front type.
Yes, right.
तो
Any
एक तरीका ये भी हो सकती है, मतलब उसका रीजन ये भी हो सकता है कि यूनाइटेड नेशन इसलिए रखा होगा.
Okay. So Parth is saying कि ma'am, the allies were at the forefront. So the simple meaning of allies is that united or united front. That's why they kept the name United Nations. Tell me, I mean, Parth is right, but Parth is partially right. Tell me, any other answer which you would like to say?
वो एक प्रकार से वर्ल्ड को यूनाइट करना चाह रहा है.
Okay. Another answer is that by terming it United Nations, the founding members wanted to make it united or क्या बोला तुमने?
मतलब वर्ल्ड को एक प्रकार से यूनाइट करना चाह रहा है.
They wanted to unite the world. So any other answer from your side? Okay. This name was coined by Roosevelt. Now, can you see how America is actively involved in creating United Nations? First thing, America was involved in the creation of League of Nations also, but it did not become member of League of Nations. Now, here they are going to become the member. The first thing, Roosevelt coined the term United Nations, first thing. And Parth is right that it was chosen against, it was chosen to prove that the world is united, first thing, and to emphasize this unity amongst the allies, because abhi tak second world war khatam nahi hua hai. Okay, so this they wanted to emphasize the unity amongst the allies against the common enemy. Abhi enemy कौन है उनका? Axis powers. ठीक है. Now in 1944, Allied powers convened another conference, that is Dumbarton Oaks Conference. Now Dumbarton Oaks is a place in Washington DC where the Charter of the United Nations was drafted. Now, though the charter was drafted, there were disagreement amongst the members, and one disagreement you would find that from the initial days, the membership and the veto power had been a question of discussion and had been a question of disagreement. Right now also, veto power and the membership of the Security Council is a matter of disagreement and a matter of debate. Okay. So this would also come in the later classes where I am going to teach you about the proposals for reforming the United Nations organization and India's bid for United Nations Security Council seat, which has been rejected by China in the recent years. Okay, so in the Dumbarton Oaks Conference, they came up with the Charter of the United Nations, but the Charter of the United Nations could not clear the disagreement related to voting procedure, veto power, voting procedure in the Security Council, veto power of the Security Council, and also Soviets' demand of membership of all the 16 Union republics into the United Nations. Now, what happened? With these demands and with these disagreement and confusion, the Dumbarton Oaks Conference could not produce any fruitful result, and then they met at San Francisco Conference, all the powers, and finally the draft was adopted and they could clear their confusion and disagreement. And finally, on the basis of after coming through all these stages, United Nations was formally established or formally formed on 24th October 1945. यहाँ तक समझ में आ गया या कोई प्रॉब्लम है? अगर नहीं आया तो you can ask me. I'm giving you time right now. Any question? Okay. One more thing. I seriously request you all, please, you can ask me question anytime from 9 to 6 anytime, even after 6. I don't have any issues. But then don't expect me to reply Turant. I may be busy somewhere else because you messaged me question and I may be busy somewhere else. मैं question देख करके भी हो सकता है वहाँ पे तुम्हें reply ना कर पाऊँ क्योंकि मैं किसी के साथ हूँ, मैं कहीं और हूँ. तो it's quite possible. So you can ask me question, but you have to wait for the reply. Don't send me reminders कि मैम बता दो बता दो बता दो. मैं बता दूंगी. मुझे भी पता है तुमने question पूछा है. Just wait for few minutes and few hours. I'll get back to you. Okay. So United Nation is formed now. United Nation, if you see the structure, early structure, United Nation consisted of six principal organs of the United Nations. Now these six principal organs were मैं इसलिए बोल रही हूँ because one of the organs became obsolete and it has no role now. Those organs were General Assembly, Security Council, Economic and Social Council, Trusteeship Council, which became obsolete, and International Court of Justice and Secretariat. If you remember, in the League of Nations, there were only 3 principal organs, right? But now they have made all these 6 organs as the principal organ. Like Permanent Court of International Justice wasn't a principal organ, but here International Court of Justice is a principal organ. Okay. We will come to the organ later. Before that, I would like to tell you what was the objective with which United Nations was created. Okay. First thing, the charter of the United Nations start with the term we the peoples of the world. That means if you read the Indian Constitution preamble, it starts with we the people of India. So you can estimate now कि हमने कुछ चीज वहां से भी उठाया है. मतलब जो भी the sources of Indian constitutions are varied. So we have taken all the good things from the constitution, different constitutions of the world. But we the people of India, which you read, it is also in different constitution, that is American Constitution, but this is also available in the United Nations Charter, where they started we the peoples of the world. That means we the peoples of the world का मतलब होता है that the source of the power of the United Nation is coming from the people of the world, right? Is this clear to you? So no nation can say that we have got the power from somewhere else, but it is the people of the world who has given the power or source, the source of the power to the United Nations is the people of the world. Now, the purpose of the United Nations is stated in Article 1 of the UN Charter, where it talks about 4 important purposes. The first purpose for which the United Nations is created is maintenance of international peace and security. And this maintenance of international peace and security should be restored or should be made through effective collective security measures. I hope you remember what is the meaning of collective security, because this we had discussed in the League of Nations also. What is collective security? One for all. Simple meaning. Even this, yes, even this I had stated in your PPT also, League of Nations ke, it means one for all and all for one. So again, they are trying to say that we are united, and if there is an attack on one nation, consider it's an attack on all the nations of the world. Now the question arises, you should ask me कि ma'am, तो फिर West Asia में इतना problem हो रहा है, then everyone should be worried about it, right? And मान लो America's intervention in Afghanistan, or what happened in America when there was attack on World Trade Center. So these things should have come to the United Nations. these things came to the United Nations, and this was discussed. And if you remember, why I am giving you example of World Trade Center, attack on World Trade Center, because then war on terrorism became one of the important agenda of not only America but also United Nations. Okay, so this was one objective where they are again focusing on collective security measures. The second agenda is to develop friendly relations amongst the nations. It is expected from the United Nations that it would suggest measures for the development of friendly relations amongst the nations. The third purpose is to achieve international cooperation in solving economic, social, cultural, and humanitarian problems. See, they are talking about cooperation in solving economic, social, cultural, and humanitarian problems. But when you critically analyze United Nations, you would come to see that despite the fact it is the purpose of the United Nations, has the United Nations been able to really resolve these issues, really achieve international cooperation on these issues? Economic issues, yes, I agree. They are cooperating, the worlds are cooperating. Why? Because that is benefiting one nation or the other. So we have been cooperating. But what about humanitarian issues? What about human rights? What about prisoners of war? What happens when a soldier of Indian Army, Indian Air Force goes to Pakistan, and how badly he is treated? So these things comes under purview of United Nations, under the purview of purpose of the United Nations. But what about all these issues? Has these been tackled by the United Nations? We will discuss these things in coming classes. And the fourth and the last purpose is to be a center for harmonizing the actions of nations in the attainment of these common ends. That means a harmonization should be done by the United Nations so that these purposes could be met. Okay, so this was all about the objective of the United Nations, or the purpose for which United Nations has been created. Now, Article 2 of the United Nations talks about 7 principles for the guidance of the UN and its members in the pursuit of the purposes laid down in Article 1. Now, if you see Article 2 and the 7 principles, which I am not going to discuss one by one, I am going to tell you the gist. So, if you see, these 7 principles actually try to serve or try to attain the objective or attain the purpose of the United Nations, which is there in the Article 1. What are, I mean, if I talk about it in a very short way, so what does this talk about? It says that sovereignty of the nations to be honored. Now, I hope sovereignty is clear to you. We have already discussed at length what is the meaning of sovereignty and internal and external sovereignty. Then, the integrity of the state should be protected. Disputes are to be resolved peacefully. Use of force be avoided, and no action should be taken by the United Nations if something falls within the domestic jurisdictions of a sovereign nation. That means United Nations cannot interfere with the domestic jurisdiction of any state. Okay. So now you would ask me, ma'am, why Kashmir issue was taken to United Nations? Because it comes under the domestic jurisdiction of India. But Pakistan was not ready to consider Kashmir as a part of India. Pakistan, if you know the history of Kashmir, then you must be knowing that Kashmir was assimilated to India through instrument of accession, which was signed by Maharaja Hari Singh. Why? Because Pakistan had started attacking Kashmir, and Maharaja Hari Singh, being a Hindu Maharaja and the majority Muslim having population, majority population having Muslim population, so there was this conflict that population wanted to get to Pakistan, but Maharaja Hari Singh wanted to assimilate to India. So there was this confusion, and later on, when Pakistan attacked Kashmir and Maharaja Hari Singh was not in a position to defend, then he asked Jawaharlal Nehru for the help. Jawaharlal Nehru gave the condition that you have to sign the instrument of accession in India's favor, then we are going to support you. So on that basis, instrument of accession was signed and Kashmir became a part of India. But here is the problem that Pakistan never considered this instrument of accession as a legal document, and did not consider did not consider Kashmir to be a part of India. Okay, so that's why it was taken to United Nations. Even the other world powers, when I'm going to teach you India and the major powers, then you would find that America was also interested in Kashmir. China was also interested in Kashmir. Even Soviet Union was also interested in Kashmir. Why? Because it became a disputed territory with this instrument of accession. अगर ये इंडिपेंडेंस के बाद अपने आप एसिमिलेट कर दिया जाता तो इट वुड नॉट हैड बीन सच अ प्रॉब्लम. लेकिन हमने जैसे भी एसिमिलेशन किया है, स्टेट्स का रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन हुआ है. यस
मैम, जैसे अगर पाकिस्तान इसको नहीं मानता तो जूनागढ़ को क्यों अपना पार्ट बना? क्योंकि जूनागढ़ के वो नवाब ने भी साइन किया था इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ एक्सेशन पर.
जूनागढ़ के नवाब. कश्मीर एक ऐसा लैंडस्केप है जो बहुत इम्पोर्टेंस रखता है. ठीक है, उसका स्ट्रैटेजिक इम्पोर्टेंस बहुत ज़्यादा है. ठीक, और वो एक ऐसा फ्रंट है जिसको अगर ऑक्यूपाई कर ले पाकिस्तान तो बहुत आसान हो जाए, मतलब इंडिया एक वल्नरेबल पोजीशन पे आ जाएगा. ठीक है, इस बात को पाकिस्तान समझता है. ठीक, और आई शुडंट से दिस इन क्लास, बट नॉट ऑल कश्मीरीज वुड अग्री टू दिस कि दे डोंट अंडरस्टैंड दिस थिंग कि आपको ऐसा कुछ नहीं मिल जाएगा जाके पाकिस्तान. तो दे हैड दिस मेंटालिटी कि हमें भेज देना चाहिए था. पहले तो ये था कि कश्मीर को आज़ाद रखो, कश्मीर को किसी में एसिमिलेट ही मत करो. ठीक है, तो दिस फीलिंग, मतलब आप एक छोटे से जगह को लेकर के आप ये बोलते हैं कि हम आज़ाद रहेंगे, विच इज अ सैंडविच विच हैज बीन अ सैंडविच बिटवीन इंडिया एंड पाकिस्तान. पहला तो ये प्रॉब्लम है. हाँ, पहला तो ये प्रॉब्लम है. दूसरा प्रॉब्लम ये है कि उसके बाद पाकिस्तान जो है वो क्लेम कर रहा है. ठीक है, तो पाकिस्तान के लिए क्योंकि कश्मीर के बारे में ये कहा जाता है इट्स अ पैराडाइज ऑन अर्थ. कश्मीर का लैंडस्केप ऐसा है, स्ट्रक्चरल इम्पोर्टेंस ऐसा है, तो पाकिस्तान वुड नेवर वांट कश्मीर टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया. पर अब तो सिचुएशन डिफरेंट है with the Kashmir converting into a union territory, right? So, okay, coming back to United Nations, sorry, I took it to somewhere else. So these were the objectives and purpose of the United Nations. Coming to membership, Article 3 talks about the membership of the United Nations, where it says that, remember I said all the nations, all the freedom-loving nations, all the peace-loving states. So Article 3 states that all those peace-loving states are actually a member of United Nations. But Article 3 explicitly states that all countries that attended the San Francisco Conference and those who signed the UN Declaration on 1st January 1942 became the original members of the United Nations. So earlier it was 51 members, original 51 members who became the members of the United Nations. later on, और अभी के period में later on, the membership grew. The membership grew with the decolonization of the nations. जब decolonization होने लगी तो membership अपने आप grow हो गया. तो you can find कि 1950s 60s में इसका membership बहुत grow हो जाता है. Right now there are 193 members plus 2 observe 193 members or 194 members. 193 है ना? 193 members and 2 states have been given the status of observer state. Okay. With this, I think I'll stop here because I won't start General Assembly today because it would take time. So I'll just download your attendance. Please wait for a minute and then you can leave. And till then, if you have any question, please ask.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, can you share the document for World War II like you did for World War I?
Yeah, sure, I'll do that. I can, for your basic understanding, I'll share IGNOU material, okay, that you can read. And if you have problem, you can discuss this with me separately. No issues. First thing. And yes, today I haven't come with the PPT, but tomorrow, maybe tomorrow I'll come with the PPT where I would show you whatever I discussed today and whatever we are going to discuss tomorrow. Okay. Just wait a minute, I'll just check the attendance. March. इस फॉर्म में क्यों डाउनलोड हो रहा है? Yes. Okay. Just.
I'm going to UAE and I'll go home from there.
Oh, yeah. So he is the only student who is attending offline class. So I have asked him to come.
Come and sit here. Yeah,
come and sit.
Thanks.
Because I can't go all the way to AB1.
Yeah. I'm joining.
Thank you so much. I have downloaded your attendance and I will start marking your attendance from maybe from next week onwards. I haven't started yet. So then you can find it out on DMS. Okay. Thank you so much. And if you have any question, please prepare and we can discuss tomorrow. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.